You're watching AndyTube. This video is part 5 and the final part of a mini-series on restoration of a Singer PA style motor. So we're at the point now that everything is all sparkly and new, and we want to put it all back together in the proper sequence and the way that's the least likely to damage anything. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and I'm going to show you the 3 parts most likely left out during the first reassembly, based on experience and talking with other restoration guys and gals. So I want to try and rearrange the camera a little bit here to try and get a better angle on it. Let me do that and we'll get started. All the parts laid out here, and I wanted to show you when I talked about the end cover insert is actually the nut for both of the screws. So you may remember that insert is inserted in here, and from this end you'll put in your brush cover screw, and from the other end the motor housing screw goes in. So good idea. So we'll get these parts separated here. I'll take my brushes and keep them safe in a little separate dish. And what we're going to start by doing is inserting the core into the end cover and trying to take care of all these semi-delicate wires and soldering connections and posts and terminals. And I'll show you here the 3 most likely parts that you will leave out. And again, this is based on personal experience and joking about it with other restoration people. One of them is the coil insulator that we took out and cleaned all the carbon dust and soot and everything off of. A lot of people forget to put that back in, so let's just do it right now. It just inserts right into the motor housing, and we'll just get it down in there and get it level all the way around. Okay, it's looking pretty good. And you know, there's kind of spaces for the screws to go, and it doesn't matter if it's up down or down up, it's all the same. So now we won't forget to put that in. The other 2 pieces are the insulation. When the posts come out of here, they need to be insulated from the core because they're going to have, you know, their live wires. And there's a little retention area here once you have the post and wires in that sits in just like that. And a lot of times people put the motor together and then they see this and they wonder, what's that? What was that for? Where does that go? So we don't want to forget that. And the other is the core wedge, that little kind of bent steel piece that wedges the core into, and one edge will go here and the other will go over the core, so when the housing is slid on it keeps pressure on the core so it won't move around. So we don't want to forget that. But let's get started first here with the end cover, and we're just going to take it with the post side up, and we'll take the core with the post side up, and we're going to put them together, and we're going to try and guide those wires and terminals into the core. Well, we got lucky, there's one. I don't see the other one. Let's look down in there. Yeah, I don't know where that other one went. So, oh, look, it kind of got folded back. So let me kind of fold it out. And again, I try and manipulate the wires, not by here, because I feel it puts stress on the solder joint. Sometimes you can't avoid it. So just you know, be careful with it, and let's try it again. So I'll guide that wire in and that wire. I'm not too worried about the posts yet. Oh good, look. Okay, I've got one and I've got the other here. So that's good. Now I'll try and get these posts in here. They kind of look like torpedoes with feet or something, but you want to get those with the tabs or feet pointed down. And there's I didn't bring a pointer. There's slots on either side for the wiring to go. So the post goes up in here and the wiring goes to the left and right down through these slots. And that's so there's space to put the insulation on. Well, this post went in pretty good. This one, maybe I got it, oh, I had it a little twisted. One of the feet was hitting the side here. So let's see how I'm doing there. That's pretty good. Now I'm going to just slide the core in. I only have about a 1/16 of an inch to go. Okay, it's in there all the way. Now let's just take a peek at it here. Okay. Oh, that's real good. I'll be able to set those where they go. I've got my post sticking out here. Okay, so I'm going to gently rest that on my work top here, and I'm going to put the insulation in the little retaining area so that I don't forget it. And while I'm up here, I'm going to go ahead and put the core wedge into the slot for it that's in the plastic of the end cover, and just push it in, and it'll go in like halfway. I think that's why it's kind of bent up. It'll go in there and it'll stop. Nice. We're doing really good here. Now we're going to lower the commutator with the armature that's all in the motor housing, and we've got our coil insulator in there, so we didn't forget that. So of course this has to match up with this. That's what that's for. And we'll just slowly the goal with this is to get the armature end of the shaft into that shaft bearing that's being held by the retainer clip in the bottom. So you just, you know, kind of center it up, maneuver it around a little bit. Up, there it goes. It went right in. Then I'm going to look around and make sure that I'm flush all the way around. Oh, nice. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how our next step is. We're going to put the end cover inserts in from that end, and then we've got to put the motor housing screws in and into the back side of that insert nut. Now to do that, I kind of use the hand to keep the end cover and the motor housing together, because I don't want to lose that insulation. And I'll just turn the body to lay it down like this so that I can have access to the end cover. Then I'll take the top insert and put it in the hole for it. There. Okay. And it just goes in, put it in flush. And again now, keep everything together and put a finger over that insert to hold it in place. Keep squeezing together these two pieces. Then you can put your motor housing screw in there and tighten it up. Now leave some slack. I mean, don't tighten it completely, because I found if you tighten one side completely, it kind of presses down on that coil insulator, and then the screw won't fit in there right. It won't line up. So I'm going to flip it over just on its other side here, and I'm going to put in the other insert right there, and then the same kind of thing. I'm going to pinch the end cover to the motor housing with my finger on that insert, whoop, so it doesn't pop out. And I'm going to see if I can line up my other screw here and get it started into that insert nut. And it's going. Now I'm going to turn this one till it just barely seats. Okay. And then I'll flip it up. And I left this one a little bit loose. Now I'm going to snug it up. I guess I left it more loose than I thought. Now, before the final tightening, I want to look around and make sure that every place that these two parts meet up, I want everything to be straight and flush. I don't want to see my insulation peeking out of someplace here, which I've had before. And this looks real good. This looks like it lined up true. It's all even. So now I'll do the final tightening, which is just a little snug up. I mean, it's like maybe 1/8 of a turn, you know, after it was seated. And I'll come back to the other side and do that. You don't really need to bear down real hard. Just firm it up good. So we've got the bulk of this assembly done. And we remembered the coil insulator, the insulation for the post, and the little core wedge. So now we've got to put the brushes back in. And the tricky part of this is getting these terminals back into the retaining area. There's a slot in there, and you remember these kind of act like clips, pressure clips, to hold that brush holder in place. So we've got to see, and they always want to pop out and stuff, and that's normal. Don't worry about it. I know I'm going to be blocking the view, but you can, you know, use one finger from one hand to get it into the the slot for it and the other finger to get it lined up against that. And see, as soon as I let it go, it's going to want to pop out. Boing. Real normal. And if you want, you can try and, bend the wires a little bit and make it so it holds in there a little better. But it's really a two-handed job. Get that in the slot and hold it in place while you slide in the brush and the brush holder. So let's prepare one of the brushes here and a brush holder. You see that slot on the side here? When you put this together and slide that in, you want that slot on the top, like that. And when you put the brush to the commutator, it's worn, and you got to get that curve to the curve of the commutator. So if it's curved to fit there good, that's going to be the same as the commutator. You don't want it like that, because then only the ends of the curve will be contacting the commutator. It's noisy, and it's going to have to wear off a lot of your brushing eventually and to make better contact. So I can do it like this. I can start my... Is that still in the camera? Yeah. I can get my brush inside the holder, kind of like that. I can get my curve lined up how I want it against the commutator. I can hold that clip in place and get the brush started. Get it started in there, get it in the tube, and then don't let that, whoop, yeah, it popped out of the tube. Yeah, don't let that, yeah, let me get this started in here again. Whee! I told you those things are pretty springy, huh? Okay. Alright, let's get this in here again. Get my curve lined up for the commutator. See if I can get the curve line for the commutator. Oh, yep, there it's popping out. I'm making this a little harder than it is when you do it, because I'm trying to film it, without blocking your view there. So I try and hold that in place. Get my curve. Whoop. Get my curve set. Let's see if I can. Maybe I'll try holding it like this again. Let me get it started here, and then I should be able to get my fingers out of the way. Okay, so I've got the terminal there. The carbon is pushed against the commutator on the right curve. I've got my slot in the brush holder up, and I'm just going to push it up. Now I've got to manipulate that carbon to get it inside the Okay, once we have this terminal or wire lead, brush lead terminal, what I kind of still call a spring clip, once it's in there in place, you want to do your best to hold it there, and then you're going to take your brush in the brush holder with the slot on the brush holder facing you, looking at it, and you're going to slide that in and guide it, the brush into the brush holder. Okay, yep, yeah. Well, let's get the brush up against the commutator, and then we'll slide. Now, let's get that holder down. Let's see if we can manipulate that holder onto the brush. There. Whew. Alright. Fiddly little things, aren't they? So, I have my brush holder with the slot up. I have my terminal or clip or wire clip or spring clip in there. And I've got my brush up against the commutator. And now I need to kind of hold it all together, well, so it doesn't pop out, and just keep sliding that brush holder in. And you will see a depressed area, you know, like a little shelf or ridge here, and that is for this edge of the brush cover to rest upon, like that. So the brush holder has to be in far enough so that the brush cover will fit properly, but the brush holder cannot touch the commutator. That's real bad. So it usually ends up about a 1/16 of an inch away, but just press it in a little bit and keep sliding it in a little until it looks even to you, and then see if you can get that brush cover and take a look at it now and see if it fits flush all the way around. And what I'm finding, this side looks very flush, even. This side of the brush cover is sticking up a little bit. It's sticking out because I didn't get the brush holder all the way in. And you won't be able to see it, but when I look where the screw is going to go, the screw hole isn't quite lined up. So I'm just going to use the brush holder to push that, or the brush cover to push the brush holder in a smidge more. Now it's flush all the way around. Okay, and I'm going to take it off and look and make sure the brush holder isn't touching the copper commutator, and it's not. I see the end of the brush, about a 1/16 of an inch, resting against the commutator. Very nice. So that's exactly what you want. My brush lead terminal is in there securely. It's nice and flat. The brush holder's nice and flat, and it's even back here, so I can put the brush cover and it fits smoothly all the way around. So I'll attempt to put in the brush cover screw, and we'll see if it is lined up or not. Man, what a weird angle to use a screwdriver, but yeah, I don't think I can get. Let me turn it around like this so I can get a more position on it to put in that cover screw. There we go. Smooth. Going good. Okay. And just snug it up. Do not tighten it too hard or you can crack the brush cover. Now come back. It's flush here. Flush, smooth, even. This side's done. This side is done. Hey. So, we're going to come and do the same thing on the other side. We have our brush cover. We have the brush holder. We have the brush cover screw. And I'll go retrieve that flying brush and we'll go ahead and do this other assembly. Okay, I found my flying brush here, and fortunately for me it didn't get damaged. Yay! So I get that ready in the brush holder. Take a little room here, and I'll see now about getting this brush lead terminal is kind of twisted up, so I've got some maneuvering to do to get it into the slot and down into the tray so it can press against the brush holder. So let me see if I can manipulate this a little bit and get it coming down here. Gently line it up with my thumb. So I've got it in the slot here, but I know if I took my finger off it, it's going to pop free. So I'm just going to gently move that wire a little bit, because the wire's kind of coming up and I want to move it level or below. And let's see what happens. Oh, look at that. It felt sorry for me after my flying brush, so it didn't give me a hard time. Okay, so I've got my brush dropped inside the end cover. Let's see if I can do a better job with that. I would usually hold it up and be level with it, but so you see, if a fumble-fingered old guy like me can get these back together, you will be able to do it. Let's line these up again. Okay. And let's see if I can get that in there better. You got to be sure that the curvature, yeah, I'm not sure if my curvature is right. Yep, it is. Okay. Got my curvature right of the brush, but my brush holder isn't down. Oh, because my brush lead terminal moved with all my manipulating. See how it popped out there? That's very common. I wish they had a little retaining clip kind of thing on that, so once it was in there, it would stay better, but it doesn't. So let me get it set up here, and then I can move my fingers and you'll get a better view. Get my brush started in here again. Get my carbon in the tray, get the brush holder started with the slot up facing me, get the brush into the brush holder, What's going on? Oh, I can't get the brush holder past the edge of the terminal. There we go. Okay. Now it's looking better. I'm just going to keep sliding this in till I get up to the end of the brush, and then make sure the brush goes in the brush holder, which it did. Now we're doing really good. So I got the brush lead terminal in the retaining space and pressed up, and I have my brush holder pressed against it, so it's very snug and tight. And I have my brush up against the commutator with the curve the right way, not like that, but like that. So I'm just going to kind of hold everything in place with this thumb while I continue pressing in and getting this end of the brush holder even with the plastic edge here. That feels pretty good. So let me look and make sure I'm not touching my brush holder's not touching the copper. I see the edge of the carbon resting on the commutator, and it's about 1/16 of an inch, the brass from the copper, and that's usually exactly what I see. So I'm going to test the fit of my brush cover, and this one I did better. I did better getting that brush holder in there evenly, because it's fitting properly all the way around. So I get this around here so that I can get the brush cover screw started in there. There. Oh good. It's lining right up and going in smoothly. Just snug it up. Let's try it out here. Okay, we've restored our Singer PA style motor. So you can see now from this that this is something that you can do if you watch this mini-series. You know, like everything else, take your time. You know, take pictures as you disassemble. You might think you're going to remember where something goes, like that core wedge, but then later when you go to put it back, you go, now where did this go? You know, so, and I'm just speaking from experience that, you know, digital pictures are free. And if you have a cell phone or camera, and you can quickly go back and say, oh yeah, okay, I remember now where this part goes. And just take your time. It looks a lot more fiddly when you're filming, like I said, because I'm trying to be there with the camera and show you, you know, where everything goes and how to do it, and it's odd working angles. But when you're just working with it right in front of you, and it's not as bad as it looks. And don't forget the 3 little pieces: the coil insulator, the insulation for the post, and the little core wedge that goes under it. So that's the end of part 5 and the end of the series. I hope you found it valuable, and I hope you come back and visit again on AndyTube. Thanks very much for watching, and take care.